Soon, we'll take over as leaders of the Decepticons, partners forever.
Welcome back to the Tidarium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the Mechanic Studio MS-27 Poison. This is their take on Octane, but it's a more cartoon-accurate representation, and it has a different upgraded head sculpt. We're going to talk about this. I did get this at Shozy. You can get yours there too. I'll have a link down below. So let's get into talking about some Poison recolored version. Coming up. Here's the box. It shows you, oddly enough, a cartoon version of the bot, and then actual alt modes on the smaller there. There's the actual toy itself, and the toy on triple changer, everything going on there, and a frightened head. So, pretty decent box, pretty decent packaging as it goes. Pretty much everything. That's interesting. You get to see kind of a grayscale version of Thunderbolt coming soon, but we have him. They are doing a recolor of that one. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a good look at this guy, and since it is the Mechanic Studio or MechFansToys, one thing I do want to point out about it is he's not going to have a whole lot of paint. He's going to have colored plastic and a little bit of paint apps here and there, but for the most part, he's not going to have a whole lot of paint. But he still looks pretty good. I like the accents of purple. I like that there's color breakup with the purple, the gray, the darker gray, and the blue here. So it does look pretty good. It looks pretty interesting, and for it being a Legend scale figure, it actually has some decent articulation to it. Let's look at him from the back, and is he clean? Yes, he is pretty clean. He's got some slight kibble with the wheels and stuff, but that's very minimal. And his wings, the way they work, kind of on a ball joint right here, so that's interesting too. So overall, like, they hid everything very well. They do hide some stuff inside the wings and the way the panel works, and so that's pretty interesting how they do that. The side, you can kind of see some of the paint apps that are going to be windows when it's in different various modes, such as the airplane. And yeah, overall, it's a pretty good looking figure. Let's go ahead and get into articulation. Now, starting off with the articulation, the wings have a little bit of movement to them right here. And then you have the head, which is on the ball joint, up and down, and a little bit around and all that kind of stuff. And then shoulder goes straight out like so, and you could go all the way around if you move the wings out of the way somehow. You could move that and then move your wing back. You do have bicep rotation, but there is kind of a cheap little opening right here, but it's not that bad, and it's Legends. Legends get passes on some things that Masterpiece wouldn't. You could do a... You've got a little bit of what you would say kind of the butterfly, but it does sort of break the sculpt a bit, but it's there, and it works for you, so it's not bad. And then elbow to the 90. Hands, do they move? They don't move. So your hands are what they are. Waist, you do have some articulation. It is a little, you got some flap here on the butt flap, and then it just kind of carries and moves the front. As for this one, let's see if you can get this up enough to do. I don't know if this goes up enough to do all the way to the 90 at the hip, but you do have 90 out to the side, almost. So a little bit limited in that range, but it's really not that big of a deal. I kind of actually like it being held up okay. By the thigh swivel, you do have, again, that same openings right there. So that's a little negative, I guess you could say, but it's not that big of a deal. You don't really see that much, but you can see the screws and stuff inside there. And then 90 for that, and then some. The foot is interesting because it's a whole different mechanism with the foot. It moves all the way around, and it's a big part of the transformation. But you get this, and you get up and down and side to side, all you would need. Maybe that was like a double engineering thing, because it is a big part of the transformation. So one of the big features of this release is the fact that it has an upgraded head sculpt, head look to it, to look more like the cartoon, and he has the screaming face also. And I actually think you have to unscrew it to swap them, I think, because there's a screw in it, so it would make me think you need to unscrew them to swap them. I don't know, but you got the whole head, not just a swappable face, which I kind of like that. I like having an extra head. I really don't think the swappable face thing is as much fun as having extra heads, like the entire head, so I like that when they do it, and they include it, so there it is. Alright, so getting into comparisons, my first comparison here is going to be with Megatron, and depending on which Megatron you want to go with, this on right here is the New Age, this is Magic Square, and they do both kind of reflect the light real bad. or maybe real well, depending on how you look at it. But this is your two options. I think that Magic Square, he fits Magic Square really well. I don't think he fits as well with New Age. But then again, I keep saying this all the time. It's Legends. Legends get a pass, and a little bit of size discrepancy in your Legends shelf isn't the biggest deal in the world, but this gives you an idea of how it looks. My next comparison is going to be the MechFansToys Astro Train, and we're going to be saving another special triple changer for the alt modes comparisons. But here it is, and let's get his wing fixed on Astro Train. So they kind of look good together. He is smaller than Astro Train, so I actually think that's accurate to the cartoon also. I think he is a little bit smaller, but in the Masterpiece scales, most of these are smaller than, say, the FansToys Astro Train and all that kind of stuff. So there it is. And here he is next to my channel mascot, the hand-painted Zartan, because, you know, Hasbro hates me and stuff. Alright, now time for the fun. It's the transformation. It should be transfunmation. Let's pull the gun out, which, there is the gun, and it looks pretty good for an Octane gun. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to slide these pieces around in the back. You do need to disconnect the wing, and then you slide it around. And we're going to fold this up a bit so that we can pull out and tuck in the head, and then we can fold this to here. We are going to open the lower piece to fold the hands in. Now the hands have no rotation in them, but they do fold away. And let's get a little bit better position on all of this. All right. Tuck away. So this is a triple changer, so there is going to be quite a bit of like extra steps here with this. All right, and tuck this in, and we're going to need, I think we're going to need that tab facing outward. So on the other side here, make sure that it's facing to where there's a tab that's facing outward. We're going to fold this down, and we're going to leave these wings sort of in a position for down the road. They're actually going to fill a giant gap here, so that's all that's going to work. So open this up. Now, at this point, I think we need to rotate the waist, and then we get into some sort of magical stuff that they have going on here. So these pieces need to roll around. Let's show it. Fold the foot down, and then fold this around like so, and it kind of tucks in. So then we tab this all together. All right, why is it not tabbing together? There it goes. Fold and close the rear, and then when it comes to these wings, now we have to open the top pieces. That's why I was talking about hiding some of the stuff in the wings. And then we're going to fold this all closed together. There's a tab here and a slot right here. There's that. Same thing on this side. Tab it together. Tab it in. Like so. Kind of close it all up. Give it a little squeeze here and there. And you got him in his truck mode. Not yet. The last thing here, you have to fold these out. So there's a lot going on with the feet. Looking at these feet, I don't know, would it be better to just rotate them around like this? And then, yeah, that's right. And then there's a tab to tab the feet together like so. I think there's a couple different ways you could do the feet, but that's how I'm doing them. And we have it done. Is it done? Is it done? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It does look like the back kind of lifts up just a bit, so let me try to sort that out just a little bit. It looks a little odd like that. I'll sort that out. We'll get right back and have a look at it. So here he is in his truck mode, and really I don't see, it just looks like the back end is just angled up a little bit. Maybe it's just an illusion because of the wings and the way the wings cover up that gap there. But it still looks pretty good, and overall, I mean, it's not bad. A Legend scale transformation here, it's actually pretty decent. So anyway, all around, you do have some blue painted windshield. You got some gray on the grill right there, and you have a pin that looks like it could be a hubcap, I guess you could say, and you have some some coloration right here, and this stripe should be straight. According to the picture, it looks more straight than I have it on mine. But anyway, got this little gray stripe. It carries over from, well, I think it really only carries over from the bot mode. You don't really see the stripe in the next mode. You do have some windows on the back here, so still pretty cool. Got a little bit of paint apps here and there. Let's go ahead and do a quick comparison of this guy to his friend Blitzwing. Is it really a friend, or is it a frenemy? Blitzwing right here. And you can kind of get an idea of the size and scale and all this kind of stuff. So that works for me. The jet's supposed to be pretty big. Just think about it. The cockpit fits a person. That fits a person. Size-wise, these scale pretty well together, actually. So, and this is another MechFansToys or Mechanic Studio version. And for those of you who've been watching the channel, you know that I've been working on this KO oversized Minosaur, the KO oversized of Magic Squares Minosaur. And the thing about this is you can really tell that this guy would not work as your a fill-in for Motormaster. I know they're different trucks and all that kind of stuff, but looking at it, the Motormaster is going to be way bigger than this, but it's still kind of fun to see it as a comparison. All right, let's get this thing transformed into its airplane mode, like a Leslie Nielsen movie or something. Here we go. Open this up and fold it around. Fold these pieces outward. We're going to tab into something. That something is going to be this. So this is going to straighten out. And there's holes for it to tab into. It's strange that there's two holes, like one for the top, one for the bottom. And we've kind of got that. And looking at the rest of this, let's go ahead and untab these pieces here, of course. Now we're going to form the front. Now this is kind of interesting. You see how the wing covers up all of the windows for the jet mode. So I think that's kind of cool. Opening these up are easier than closing them for sure. And we're going to, this is interesting here. We're going to pull this out and then it's going to rotate. Let's get this piece here out of the way too. This is going to rotate around and we're going to give us sort of, pull this flap up, sort of the airplane mode. So that's kind of cool how they did that. Let's just do this on the other side. Fold this out and then rotate it around. And then it gives us this. Let's make sure the legs are all even. Fold this piece here out. And now we're going to kind of looks like a mess, but there we go. And then that'll tab together. So we're seeing the front of this. Now we're going to do like some twists and turns and stuff, but we've got to open up. So disconnect this. This is the lower wrist piece. So disconnect that to free up the wing. Disconnect that to free up the wing for a second here. We're going to have to kind of open this part here up. And oddly enough, it's going to stay opened up. So it's kind of strange. So we got the wings out of the way. We got all this out of the way. We can rotate this. This little flap's going to cover that. We do need to fold this around like so and tuck this foot in. And so let's get this arm out of the way. Fold this around like so. And a little bit of stuff's going to kind of untransform and give as it goes. So we're folding this down because the wheels were down as we kind of went. That's kind of how that went. So now these stay like this on both sides. And we do still have to fold this, pull this down a bit. We got to get the tail end realigned. And there that is. And now all we really have to do is to put the wings in place like so. And the wings will tab back into that lower forearm piece. Come on, tab in. You didn't want to come untabbed a minute ago. Now you don't want to tab in again. So there's that. And on this side, we can see it from a different angle. We're folding it down and tabbing this tab back into that slot. Right there. Come on. All right, so I think that pretty much does it. Just want to kind of go around and make sure everything is tightened up, tabbed in, like it's supposed to. Not a bad looking mode, actually. It's a pretty good looking mode, and we'll take a look at this here in just a sec. All right, so here's Poison or Octane in airplane mode, and this looks pretty good, actually. Like, really good. For a Legends figure that's triple changer, probably the weakest of the three modes. There's a lot of kind of junk on the bottom there, but overall, it looks good. I really don't like, though, the back looks kind of weak. I wonder if there was something else I could have done to tighten that up a little bit more. Maybe there was a flap I was missing or something, but it just looks real anorexic right here. Like, it needs more right here. But that's kind of what they use to turn into the tail fin and all that kind of stuff. But overall, I mean, not that bad. Maybe you can just hold it here and fly it. Oh, that looks good. So you do have those windows that were hidden in the truck mode, and now they're out, and so that's kind of cool. All this was hidden in truck mode, and now you can see it in the airplane mode. So it looks pretty good. Now you notice that the wings, they do have that little bit of articulation, however you would like to display it, I guess. But I kind of like the curve to the back. And you don't see the stripe. The stripe's on the bottom of it. So I don't know why they did it like that, but that's the way they did it. I mean, maybe that's just more accurate and tuned and all that stuff. So looking pretty good all around. It's interesting how we turned the shoulders into this, like the jet engines and stuff. And I don't see landing gear anywhere. I don't think they really do that on Legends so much. So let's go ahead and get into some comparisons. Here he is compared to his best friend, Blitzwing. And this is another, of course, the MechFansToys one. And that's the reason I had this one already set up in the alt mode, the jet. It's a jet versus a jet, more or less. So airplane versus airplane. And that'll work for me. That looks pretty good side by side. This is a commercial airliner versus more like a 1 or 4-man jet, something like that. Here is the KO oversized version of Dragstrip, and I think is that dead end. So that'll work. That's how they look. They're just slightly bigger than the Magic Square. It's not like they're a massive difference or anything. So this is the Mechanic Studio or MechFansToys MS-27 Poison, the tune-colored version. And I want to say that overall, it's a pretty solid figure. For a triple changer, it looks good in all modes. And I would say that this airplane mode is its weakest, and it's still not really that bad. So I would say the pluses to this figure is it's pretty easy to handle. The materials feel pretty good. It transforms really well. It does what you want. And it looks good best in bot mode. And I like my bot mode the most. So best in bot mode, good for me. Worst in this plane mode, it is kind of anorexic in the back there and a couple of strange things. I think the truck mode is pretty solid overall itself. But it's a pretty good figure. The downside to these are they are a cheaper one, which is an upside. But they're lacking paint apps. They don't have the finish that you would get with, say, like a New Age figure. You get a much better finish on a New Age, but it's a lower price point. It's offering characters that other ones aren't going to make, and maybe they won't make them for years. So I love the MechFansToys, the Mechanic Studio, and what they're doing. I like this figure. You can get this at Shozy. I'll have a link down below. Like and subscribe. Tridarium Hanger out.
Decepticons, commence hunting season.
Don't go overexerting yourself so much. You're just beginning to recover. It's just like I told you, Lizard Brain. You're still convalescing. I don't want you wearing yourself out, Tripty Babes. Yeah? You're wasting all your energy shooting at vacation cruise ships. And the oil here makes the best energon in the galaxy. The Carbonian energon can make me the strongest Decepticon in the galaxy. Tripticon and me want to turn your country into a paradise. You sure ain't easy to please, Your Excellency.
Octane, my friend. I will admit that you and Tripticon have not done such a bad job.